is that? Right, so you can see everything?
Mm-hmm. I can see. Umineko no Naku Koro ni.
Do you remember what we left off on last time?
Why are you making fun of me? What do I remember?
New Element was the chapter. New Element was discovered in
Was it?
Yasu Beatrice Shannon's life.
Yeah, it was love.
No, it was Battler. Battler is an element altogether.
What? They've been talking about love like for the last few games, and you're saying it's not love?
Yeah, it's just Battler. Battler is the element. So we have a...
No, it's not. It's mystery novels.
Oh, it could be.
She replaced her love of mystery novels with sharing mystery novels with Battler. So really, the true love is, as I was saying, it has been for ages, it's Kumasawa. Kumasawa is the start of all of this.
Dead.
Excuse me?
She is dead.
How dare you say that about my beloved Kumasawa?
And we didn't actually end it at the end of the chapter either.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
We stopped right before because we thought that was the end.
And then we were like, we can't be bothered going back.
Still later.
Okay. I see. So, this emotion that feels like sweet suffocation is love? It is an emotion I do not know. One I do not have. Oh, that's a bit sad. Though my magic can grant any wish, though my paradise can grant any wish, that thing I cannot have, that incomprehensible emotion, that burns like fire and yet madly one wants to hold it close. All I know is that no matter how great a witch I might become, I cannot create this emotion. It must be given by another person. For the first time, I realized that I wasn't all-powerful, and I knew what Shannon had discovered in the world of humans. This emotion. It's just too much. Once you've felt it, there's no forgetting it, is there? Shannon, you win. Love, is it? It may be the most important element, and the one that I lack. Shannon, I'll watch and see how your love develops. So please, teach me more and more about this new emotion.
Alright, send it there. It's a good chapter.
Yeah, it didn't take long at all.
See you in the next one. Immediately. Don't be Will.
It's gonna be Will. Yes!
Will! I got dots.
Ah! This form is...
I'm lending it to you. After all, I hate idiots.
Wait, a form? I don't remember this. We had such a big
Call
gap
yourself
between them.
Claire as a temporary name. So, kind of like the storyteller is Claire at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what we've been doing. Well, Claire / Beato.
Yeah. And I guess the physical appearance, or visual appearance, if you want to say that, is just that white witch.
Yeah.
Call yourself Claire as a temporary name, or would you prefer Beato?
You have my gratitude. This way I won't have to expose my pitiful form.
So I think it's kind of like you've got the stage where she's sharing her story, and then I guess this is just having like Will and Leon here to be able to interact with the storyteller to ask questions, I guess. Bernke had given Claire a fake form. It was a temporary form for the person acting the part of Beatrice. A fake to fool those who still hadn't discovered Beatrice's true form.
Oh, wow, I can't remember. Then... is this tale about me in another world? Leon, this is indeed a tale of you in another world, and also my tale. The tale of a world where I live as a witch, not a human. I am capable of imagining what-if scenarios for my own life. However, the tale you tell is beyond anything I can imagine.
Even so, it's the life that another you has led.
But still, that doesn't mean I can accept it easily.
Leon suddenly yelled and looked at the floor. Leon already knew. Because of the fragments lent by Bernke, Leon knew. There was a different world where Leon lived as the Golden Witch Beatrice. And in this world, eventually, on the day of 1986 October family conference, she would be the ringleader of a terrible crime.
They use she? Even if it is a different world, you're saying that I get my entire family and all of the servants involved in a terrible crime that I am the mastermind of? How am I supposed to deal with that?
Be quiet, listen, and figure it out.
In a different life, I end up as a servant. And if that wasn't enough, I suddenly become a witch. And then I eventually carry out several terrifying murders. How am I supposed to understand that?
Yeah, I see where you're coming from. I doubt anyone could understand. This person here thought that no one would ever understand. That's why you're here. That's why Bernke brought you two people who never should have met together like this. It's not like I had any deep reason for it. It was just a whim. This is a motive that no one else can understand, Leon, so you need to be the one to understand it. I'm not the main character in this tale. You are. I'm just here to help you understand.
You said that you understand the culprit's motive.
Yes.
Is that motive a satisfying explanation for why I'd kill my entire family?
No. Who knows? That is for you to decide. Even if I say it's satisfying, that doesn't mean it'll satisfy you. You have to decide that for yourself.
I really don't have a clue what's going on. I've seen several crimes called game boards that Beatrice supposedly carried out. And now I'm hearing another me talk about a different life from mine. But there's no connection between that and the crime. I don't understand. At this point in the tale, even I could not have dreamed that I would eventually carry out such terrible crimes. In fact, even if I had been able to dream of it, I did not have the power to commit those crimes at all.
At the time. Probably. Your misfortune probably came when you solved the epitaph's riddle.
Huh? You mean the epitaph about the hidden gold, which your grandfather supposedly wrote?
There exists a system for gaining different accomplices for each crime. Reasoning can lead us to the possibility that the culprit possessed a vast amount of money. We can also envision another system, which involves inviting all to the Golden Land and making all loves bear fruit.
So, it wasn't just the motive. You've already seen that far as well.
Damn, Will. Foresight. That's the answer to the final riddle from the fourth game. Your greatest misfortune was solving the epitaph, reviving as the Golden Witch in the truest sense, and gaining magical power.
Looking back, was that really misfortune after all? I do not know. However, as long as the fact that Butler-san returns in 1986 remains unchanged, some sort of tragedy would certainly have occurred.
That's right. If Battler had returned a year earlier or later, that incident might not have occurred. No, some small incident probably would have occurred, and it would have surely been a mysterious, impossible incident which no one could have explained. But even so, compared to the Rokenjima serial murders, it would have been a tiny thing.
If Battler-kun had returned a year later or earlier, then what? Fate can be so filled with irony. It made me walk the path of a witch, and when I solved the epitaph, I became a true witch. Then 6 years passed, and I learned of his return. If all of that was fate, then this crime must have been inevitable and inescapable from me.
In 1980, Battler was resentful because of the death of his mother, Asumu, and his father's remarriage that came too soon, so he left the Ushiremiya family. For 6 whole years, he had no direct contact with them. He convinced his grandparents on his mother's side to help him and went by his mother's maiden name. Then, when those grandparents passed away, he finally made up with Rudolph and returned to the Ushiremiya family again in 1986. That bad luck gave birth to your motive for your crime.
I did wonder, why after 6 whole years did he finally come back?
I understand. In a way, it would have been better for you if he had never come back.
Of course, my suffering would have continued. However, I may not have tainted myself with the unforgivable crime of mass murder. How could Battler-kun leaving create a motive?
You've got it backwards.
Backwards?
The crime didn't occur because Battler left. It happened because Battler came back.
The more I think about it, Ushiremiya Battler was quite a disagreeable man, more than anything else, because he never realized that the outbreak of the crime was his fault.
He did remember, in the end. However, that was long after you gave up and disappeared.
If that is so, then it would give my heart some peace. I don't have a clue what you two are talking about anymore. But I'd like to ask you bluntly. I want to know what love is. No, I want to know what on earth happened to you that made you decide to commit a crime.
Yeah, that's the most important part. It's just like how Ushirimi and Battler respected the why done it in mystery novels. That's where the answers to all the riddles are hidden, both in the tale of the Golden Witch and in the game.
So, like, earlier in the episode, Will always brought... I think it was, like, even when he was introduced, Will was talking about, like, the heart.
Yep.
And, like, the motive.
Yep.
And then when we had the flashback with young Battler talking to Shannon, he was, just, like, saying the same things. So I think it might be safe to say that Will is essentially kind of just like a idealistic Battler.
Oh. And that's what the, like, tuft of Battler-coloured hair is?
Yeah, and it's kind of like Battler couldn't figure out the, he couldn't figure anything out before Beatrice left or died, whatever you want to call it. When she just wanted to be understood by him.
Yeah.
And so this is kind of like a proxy, I guess. Like, this is the ideal Battler who would discover everything. And this is like, it's not, it's just a stand-in for Beatrice, but like, yeah.
Yeah, okay. In that case, allow me to continue. 1980. 6 years before I resolved myself to committing the crime.
Days of Trials.
That was really good, and I interrupted.
Part 2.
Oh no! Do it again.
1980, 6 years until the incident.
Battler-sama has left the Ushirimiya family?
Mama.
That's what Kraus-sama and Rudolph-sama were saying. What a shock.
I have no intention of criticizing your way of life or your family situation. However, father is in a towering rage. Disinheriting a son is one thing, but I've never even heard of a child becoming fed up and leaving the family on his own. That Battler can be surprisingly stubborn, sort of like someone else I know.
If you are unable to understand Battler-kun's feelings, one might question your right to be a father.
Shut up, Natsuhi. Go have a child. Oh wait, you can't. Oh wait, he says it. Enough, Natsuhi. I'm sure Rudolph was just trying to show how dedicated he was to raising Kirie-san's child in his own way.
Wait, Kirie-san's... Wait, what? Kirie's son's... Wait, go back. Oh, Kirie...
Son, not that type of son.
Wait, does that mean Auntie's not related? Kirie...
What?
I'm sure Rudolph was just trying to show how dedicated he was to raising Kirie-san's child. Isn't that his own child as well? Why do they make it sound like he's raising the child of another man?
I think that's just how you're interpreting it.
Do we ever find out who Battler's mom is?
It's not Asumu.
I know. Do we find that out, or is that just forever a mystery?
I'll have to see. Maybe his mum is actually Beatrice.
Oh, come on.
Just, you're already there. You might as well just take it the whole way.
I would have
Back
nothing...
to Rakenjima's inbred family.
I would have nothing to say if it were happening next year. But why this year? He's still in his period of mourning. If you consider the timing of this pregnancy, one must acknowledge that Rudolph-san has acted disgracefully.
Come on. Don't be so harsh. This is my way of atoning for what I've done.
By letting his child leave? Battle-kun's trying to protest against you on the behalf of his departed mother, Asumu-san. I deeply understand how he feels. If he were here, I would want to hold him and cry along with him.
I think it's like, I got her pregnant, so I'm trying to be responsible and, like, marry her and take care of both her and the child.
Yeah.
Even though it's, like, essentially broken up his relationship with his first son.
Yeah, and Kiryu is just like, I got the man after all.
It's like, oh, time to put the knife away.
Oh my goodness.
Natsuhi's words were sharp. They pierced Rudolph mercilessly. Rudolph had no retort. His relationship with Kirie had been adulterous, plain and simple. According to Rudolph, he had been close to Kirie longer than Asumu. And, even after his marriage to Asumu, that relationship had not disappeared.
Wait, they were, like, together the whole time he was married?
Yeah. We've been through Rudolph's Playboy era.
I know, but
which
that's,
is his life.
like, pretty...
He was with Kirie, like, as partners.
Wait, was it,
and kind
was
of
it
like...
that Asumu was pregnant and that's why they got together? She got pregnant first? Like, didn't they,
Yeah,
they
so it was
both
like...
get pregnant and then Kirie had the miscarriage, or was it Asumu who had the miscarriage?
Yeah. So, he was with Kirie in, like, a partnership sense, and they probably had a thing going as well. And then Asumu came along, and... yeah, essentially, she got pregnant, and since, I guess, they got pregnant roughly around the same time, and Rudolph kind of panicked. I don't know, he just ended up deciding he'd marry Asumu, and then they had the miscarriage, or maybe that was why he decided to marry her, because Kirie had the miscarriage. So he's like, oh, I've got a child with this woman, so I should, it'll look better if I'm married to her as opposed to this other woman.
I see.
What the hell does that mean? You old bastard. So you've just been betraying Mom from the start. Sure, I know Kirie-san. You've told me that she was your business partner and a friend whose advice you could always rely on. If you're trying to say after all this time that she was more than that, then why should I give a damn? After Mum's death, you could have done whatever you wanted. I'm right there with you, saying that you should live life as you please. But just when did Kirie-san get pregnant? Back when Mum was still alive, right? Yeah, now I finally see. So this is why you always make me want to vomit. Are you glad that Mum's finally dead now? You are, aren't you? I'm sure it would have been so hard on you, keeping your infidelity and even a kid secret while Mum was still alive. But now that Mum conveniently kicked it, you get to marry Kirie-san, and I get a new little brother or sister? You can bet that Mum's crying in heaven. You bastard, you're embarrassing. I'm embarrassed. So embarrassed I can't stand to have the same last name as you. The kid is completely guiltless. It'd be too sad if he or she doesn't have both parents together. Go ahead, build a new family and raise that kid to have a happy life. But I'll never forgive you. Mum isn't here to hate you anymore, so I'll hate you in her place. With all of my body and soul. So long, old bastard.
It makes a bit more sense why I was so... yeah, I can see why he's really angry.
That is enough, Natsuhi. Rudolph hasn't lost the affection he feels for Battle-kun. It may take some time, but he wants to fix their relationship one day.
As any father should. If it were some complete stranger, that would be one thing, but this is your own flesh and blood son. It's clearly your responsibility.
Go ahead. Despise me all you want. I won't argue. That's the only way I can atone.
At the very least, make sure you give the new child a happy life.
The kid who's gonna be born, and Battler, they're both my kids. Wedding Kirie-san after Asumu's death may have been painful for Battler-kun, but it was the best choice you could make for the coming child. I understand why you did it.
And I understand why Battler-kun felt like telling you that you were happy Asumu-san is dead.
Stop, Natsuhi. Rudolph has already been scolded enough by the person most fit to do so. Now then, how about some black tea? Could you go ask someone in the kitchen to make us some?
Oh, understood.
Natsuhi took this as a signal to leave the room and did so. Once she left, Kraus relaxed slightly.
I feel bad for Asumu-san, but if we consider the timing of that soon-to-be-born child, this might have been quite the coincidence. Almost as though Asumu knew that and stepped down from the stage of her own choosing. I've forgotten his voice. Did I kill Asumu? If so, how long has it been since I started killing her? If you still treasure Asumu's memory, then no matter how many years it takes, you must fix your relationship with Battler-kun. Yeah, I know. And be sure to pour just as much affection on Kirie-san and the new child that is to be born, while also bearing Asumi-san's cross. If they have reserved seating in hell. If they do, I'd like to reserve myself a VIP spot.
Oh my goodness.
The news that Battler had abandoned the Ushirimiya name swept across the family.
And poor Battler-san too. I do believe that he'll make up with them eventually, but...
And this is a matter for the family. It is not something servants need concern themselves with. Instead, we should focus on memorizing the face of the newest member of the Ushirimiya family, Kirie-sama.
Yes, that's true. She will be coming to the family conference this year.
If the person who just joined the Ushirimiya family will be coming to the conference, then what about the person who just left the family?
Oh.
You think that was me?
No.
That means Battler wasn't coming,
I
right?
spaced off for a little bit while you were reading. Look, get back!
I've already replaced Garp.
That means Battler isn't coming, right? That seems the most probable outcome. How lonely is the loss of a single noisy man?
Though most people felt a bit lonely to see Battler leave the Ushirimiya family, they didn't think any more about it than that. However, what about Shannon? Wasn't Battler supposed to come for her on a white horse?
I was surprised at first. Oh no, this is Shannon, isn't it? Not Beatrice.
Yeah.
I was surprised at first. I thought that since he had left the family, he might not be coming to this island anymore. If we consider Battler-san's feelings, this is only natural, I guess. I understand painfully well why he wanted to leave his family. But does that really mean he won't come to Rikkenjima anymore? What on earth is going on? Will he really never return? Unable to ask him this directly, I was forced to live each day fretfully. Battler-san, I understand how you feel, but to say that you'll never return because you've abandoned your family, that's a lie, right? I was so confused that the world seemed to be spinning around me. I had a tight feeling in my chest and I couldn't think about anything. When I happened to touch my cheek, I was surprised to find it hot and wet. while wearing a truly miserable expression on my face, I was crying.
Shannon. Is this Beatrice or
Beatrice, yeah.
Shannon?
From far away, I could hear someone calling to me. But it was a very strange sort of distance. Though it felt very far away, the voice also seemed to be coming from right beside me.
I will never invite you again, she says. Next year.
Shannon. I know your heart.
It's okay. Oh my goodness, that was not it. How do I gulp?
It's just a fight between a boy and his father. I can't even.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's just a fight between a boy and his father. I'm sure the rumours blow everything out of proportion. Everything's just been exaggerated.
Copium.
Indeed. There are none who can say with certainty that Butler will not return to this island. You would do well to remain strong.
Where is this place? I seem to remember it somehow. I think it reminds me of the scenery from a strange dream I once had. Then, this must be another dream. I was there under an arbor, surrounded by a golden rose garden. And two witches in white and red dresses were showering words of encouragement upon me.
You can be sure that those rumour-mongering young servants are embellishing the story however they please. So, he has changed his name, they say. Surely this can be nothing more than a family quarrel.
Thank you. I wish I could believe that. Of course it's true. His boy, after all. You can hardly be surprised that he's had a few arguments with his dad.
Precisely as you say. Clearly they will make it up to each other once they cool their heads.
When men argue, it's always fiery at first, but then they burn out quickly.
In contrast, an argument between women burns like a steady flame, but the fuel never goes dry. Men's arguments are fierce but short. Quick and easy.
You're right. I hope Butler's son and Rudolph's summer make up soon.
Soon. A quick and easy 6 years.
Oh, but they will. Haven't you heard Butler mentioning it all the time? He always fights with his father. This is just another one of those fights. The death of his mother and his father's remarriage have merely upset him.
It sounds as though he's gone to live with his mother's parents, but after he's cooled his head for a few days, I'm sure he'll come back. It's like a kid running away from home, see? The two witches kept saying that Butler's fight hadn't been anything huge. It had merely been a mere family quarrel. The rumours wouldn't have started in the first place, if that were the case. Taking an optimistic view here isn't likely to prove useful.
Either way, this is a problem between Butler and his father. If you're patient, time will heal all wounds. There's no point in feeling bad over it.
Just because Butler happened to be absent today doesn't mean we can be sure he'll never come back. All this means is that Rudolph came alone today.
True. Of course, he will be at the next family conference, as energetic as ever. By then, Rudolph will be probably bring that Kyrie here too. Battler may be sulky about it, but I am certain that he will come as well.
You're right. Yeah, I'm sure you're right. How nice would it be if they were right? In fact, I'd like to flip through the calendar until autumn right now and check to see whether he does come next conference. If he does, then all of my fears are groundless. It would mean the rumor-mongering family members and servants have just blown things out of proportion. If Battler's son was right here, I wouldn't question him right away. Hey, isn't it true that you'll never come to Rekenjima again, right? And then if he said that, of course he would come again. It would be such a relief. I don't know the phone number for Rudolph Summer's house, but I could probably look it up if I tried. However, as a servant of the family, I have no excuse for making such a call. And anyway, I have no way of knowing the phone number for Battler's grandparents' house. I can't do anything except wait for Rudolph Summer's family to come visit, and hope that my fears are groundless. However, will I be able to make it through the day feeling like this? No way. I doubt I'll sleep a wink tonight. Just waiting around feeling like this when I don't know when my next chance will come? I can't do that. Will it be next month? Or the month after? In the worst case, I might have to wait until the next family conference. And if I have to wait that long, while holding back this suffocating feeling, I can't bear it. Hey, Shannon. Sorry to ask this out of the blue. But when you made up your mind to do something by the next year, that something wasn't just quitting work as a servant on this island, right? That... I made the decision to start a new life. I didn't want to keep on being a servant by force of habit. I made the decision to step into a new life and leave my old life as a servant behind. And Battler promised that he'd come here on the day of your decision, right? Yes.
Tact is not one of my strong points, so I shall speak frankly. You made the decision and resolved yourself to starting a new life with Battler, correct?
A new life. With Battler-san.
You are afraid that Battler will not come. You were afraid that Battler will not come for you on the day of your decision. However, there is more to that day of decision than just Battler coming to see you.
It's also the day for you to show that you're determined to spend the rest of your life with him.
This determination is something you must create for yourself. It won't bear fruit simply because Battler shows up.
Shannon, do you now have the determination to spend the rest of your life with him? You decided to put it off until the next family conference because you didn't have that determination last time, right?
What does it mean to live with Battler? Have you ever thought about it seriously in detail?
Well, as long as I'm working as a servant of Rekenjima, my opportunities for meeting him are limited. We're both underage, so it's too early to talk about marriage. However, if I quit working as a servant, I should have many more opportunities to meet him. Once I quit work here, I'll return to the Fukuen house. I'll have my wages from serving the family, so I should have more than enough to travel to Batlerstown's house to play. And when I graduate from school, I can rent an apartment near Batlerstown's house. Then, well, I can work while going to school. That life would be a lot more difficult than I first thought. However, I'd be able to see Batlerstown much, much more often. If not every day, then every week. I won't be a servant anymore, so there won't be any difference in class. I can call him whatever I want. And I'm already doing both school and work. Thanks to my experience here, I know more than enough to do simple housework.
Doesn't that sound like a fun life? You can rent a humble abode, and once you've built up your own home, you can invite Butler over.
And then the time you spend together, the world the two of you make will begin. Doesn't that sound wonderful? Yes, it does sound a bit wonderful. That was the first time I had ever imagined that future clearly. My love for him and my honest desire to live with him. Earlier, I was able to consider both of these deeply. However, now that I'm clearly imagining the future plan I choose, I finally understand. I must be aware of how much determination will be needed to reach that future. You dream of marriage eventually, don't you?
Ho ho! Girls these days, dating with marriage in mind at such a young age.
Well, that's a bit, Don't deny your dreams, okay? There's no point in taking a first step if your eyes are closed and you don't look into the future.
If a girl's in love with a man, there's nothing wrong with thinking, I want to marry him. That's a young girl's nature, right?
My face had turned bright red. Earlier, I thought that considering marriage really was a bit premature, so I tried as best as I could not to think about it. However, when the witches encouraged me to imagine it, that image was both exciting and vivid. I felt an indescribable feeling of refreshment and awakening. Like the gentle breeze that washes over you when you go outside during a brief spot of sunshine on a rainy day. That's right, I didn't actually have the determination to go that far. I need to strengthen my determination by the time the next family conference comes round. If I can't do that, then sticking around as a servant on this island is no more than I deserve. And at the same time, this is also a trial.
True, a trial to be overcome.
A trial? Why is that?
Fool! Battler promised that he would come for you at the next family conference, did he not?
He said he'd come on a white horse, right? Yes.
You're thinking that Battler will not come anymore. In other words, you have no faith in Battler's promise.
That's why this is a trial. To pass through this trial, you'll have to show that you can trust him and wait. A trial? I hadn't thought of it that way. Since he promised to come for me in a year, then I need to believe that he'll come for me in a year. If I doubt that, I don't have the right to wait for him in the first place.
In fact, Battler might have left the Ushiomiya family because he set his sights on a future with you.
Oh, why would that be?
If he knows that you will live together and eventually exchange marriage vows. Having the name Ushiromiya would cause problems, since Shannon is a servant of the Ushiromiya family.
Ah, I see. He realizes that there'll be all kinds of trouble if he decides to marry a servant girl, so he's abandoned the Ushiromiya name beforehand.
What do you think, Shannon? That way everything makes sense. Battler has abandoned the Ushiromiya name for your sake. This sudden argument with Rudolph was just an excuse.
What splendid reasoning! Nice going, Richie!
What do you say, Shannon? There's no reason to feel down. On the contrary, it's as though Battler has shown his determination first.
A smile had finally returned to my face. Of course, I hadn't taken the witches seriously and let myself be reassured. It was closer to the opposite. It was almost funny that they could think up such ridiculously convenient explanations for everything. However, they had made all of those ridiculous theories to cheer me up. The witches are right when they say that I must trust Battler-san. And that there's no point moping about just because I've heard a few rumors. Until the next family conference, I intend to strengthen my resolve. And I believe that he'll accept my feelings and come for me. The idea that Butler left the family so that he could be married to me someday was laughable, of course. But right now I should try and feel confident enough to accept even crazy ideas like that. Thanks so much. I feel a little better now.
That is well. I cannot stand watching you cry yourself to sleep.
Thanks for coming into my dreams to encourage me.
Indeed, it will be morning soon. This is all a dream. You won't remember any of it when you awake. However, your heart will be at peace.
Yes, I'll believe in him and wait. So I won't listen to every little rumor.
Very good. Wait until the next conference while improving yourself. If you think of it as training to become a wife, all of your everyday chores will grow more meaningful.
Thanks a lot. Nietzsche, it'll be morning soon.
Is that so? Then, so long, Shannon. You may not remember me, but I will always be by your side, watching over you.
Thank you. Yes, thank you.
Shannon's brain.
The dream world is Shannon's brain?
All of this copium. Meanwhile, Battler's brain. La, da, 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 da.
The next family conference will be here in a flash.
Wait. Who's speaking? Beatrice?
Probably Beatrice.
Okay. The next family conference will be here in a flash. Wait for it at your leisure. Battler will certainly keep his promise.
He doesn't even remember her name.
Ichinan! What is later? Ato?
I didn't even see it. 5 years until the incident.
Oh, it's been a while. Kirie.
Pleased to meet you. My name is Kirie. I hope we can all become quick friends.
I've known your name longer than I've known Asuma-san's. I hear you're Rudolph's old girlfriend.
Yes, we've known each other for quite a long time.
Welcome to the Ushinomiya family. I hope you find it easy to grow comfortable here.
Yes, I like to grow comfortable quickly, so that I can support my husband.
But look at how cute that little girl is. What's her name? This is Anji-chan. What a cute name.
So, you two couldn't make up after all?
I thought this would have been the perfect chance to bring him back, but he's as stubborn as Dad. Will Battler never come back? I'll miss him.
Nothing wrong with a man having enough backbone to find his own way in the world. I'm sure he'll have made it big by the time he comes back.
You think so? Right now, Battlerkun's home isn't home for him. The place he comes home to is somewhere else now.
Enough. This concerns Rudolph's family only. It is not our place to meddle.
Thank you, Krasny-san. This is an issue for our family alone. However, I intend to do all I can that Battlerkun and Rudolph's-san can live together again someday. After all, he's Auntie's one and only big brother.
Yep. When that kid gets stuck on something, anything you say to him will have the opposite effect. I assume his father has a bit of a short temper. Looks like he's been adding fuel to the fire.
Interesting.
It'll be okay. I'm sure he'll understand your feelings before too long.
We can't do anything except cheer you on. Even if he doesn't come back, we're all praying that the two of you will make up quickly.
It's a bit boring without Battler.
Shots fired to George.
Yeah. I hope he and Uncle Rudolph can make up soon.
Thinking about how Battler Summer feels, it must have hurt.
His family basically just got swapped around. It probably doesn't feel comfortable at home anymore.
All men need to go out on their own one day or another. It might just be that Battlerkun's time has come.
Your
And
time
now my time has come.
Those glasses fogging up there, that's what it seems like.
Yes, now I have Shannon all to myself.
Do you think so?
I do. I will marry.
Oh my gosh.
It's not cool for a guy to hang around at his parents for too long. You've got to leave the nest in a flurry and make your name in the world. I plan to do that eventually, but it looks like he's gone and done it first.
And, when he makes his name in the world and becomes a great man, will he come back?
It may be that he never comes back.
Oh, George!
After all, I'm here
You're
for
the
you,
seed of doubt in Shannon's mind. It's like, he'll
After
never
all.
come back here. Let me comfort you while you mourn the loss of how close you were with.
This might be leaving the nest to him.
Leaving the nest?
Back to bed. Time to sniff some of that copium again.
Oh.
Battler didn't come, did he?
Oh, how terrible. And I kept telling Shannon that he was so sure to come. I'm sure she's very upset over Battler's absence. And it's all because I got her hopes up.
She's been looking forward to this day. It pains me to think of how she must feel, as I say with a big smile on my face. Thanks, you two. I'm okay. I had been reunited with the witches once again in that dream world. Though I could never remember anything during the day, now that I was in the dream world, I somehow knew that this was a reunion. The witches both looked apologetic, though they had tried to cheer me up by saying that Butler would come today. Now that he hadn't come, it was like they'd been lying, and they seemed to regret it heavily.
Shannon. Well...
Thanks for your concern. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't sad, but it'll be okay.
Are you sure? Really sure? That would be splendid, but...
Clearly, Battler's fight was so over the top that he couldn't bring himself to back down so soon. How stubborn.
Yes, that is true. He tried to act tough before running away, so his stubbornness is preventing him from taking back what he said so easily. He'll probably regret not coming today. Yes, that must be it.
For some reason, they seemed nearly desperate in their attempts to encourage me. It was always funny to watch. I couldn't help but giggle. Thanks a lot, both of you. After all, you're the ones who told me in the first place that this is a test, a trial to overcome. The truth was, I couldn't really fool myself so easily. When will he come back? Will he come for me? When isn't the question. Will he come for me ever? If I start mopping right now, the uncertainty and sadness will probably tear me apart. Oh, wait.
She's definitely a servant of the Ushiro Rebel. Good one.
I didn't even pick that up. Oh. Let's just forget that happened. That did not happen. Nothing to see here.
There's nothing to see here because Shannon just cleaned it up.
We're doing take 2.
If I start moping right now, the uncertainty and sadness will probably tear me apart. But they've taught me. This is a trial to see whether I really believe in him or not. The very fact that I feel uncertain and anxious is a betrayal of my resolve, and of his promise to come for me someday. George-sama said something about it. He said that this might be the same as leaving the nest for Battler-sama. That's right! This is his chance to leave behind the Ushiramiya name and spread his wings as his own man. If you really think about it, we're still very young. Even if we want to be tied together, we're still lacking many years of social experience and trust. If Butler-san really is and truly taking this seriously, then it's too soon for him to come for me now.
Well done. Yes, that's the right attitude. You have done well to reach this understanding.
I haven't reached anything. However, I've decided to think of it that way for now. However, this is a trial to see whether I trust Butler-san or not. If he had come today, then today I would have had to tell Madam that I wanted to quit my job as a servant. However, was I really prepared to do that? Last night, I kept worrying about whether Butler-san would come or not. Thanks to that, not only did I have the resolve to quit my job, I hadn't even started on the paperwork to do so. In short, I still don't have the determination that I promised him that day. I'm sure that God knew that. Butler will come for me when I've found my determination. I wasn't determined, so it's only natural that he didn't come today. Yeah, it all makes sense now. So, I'm sure Butler-san didn't come today because I wasn't determined enough. It's only natural since even I couldn't even truly believe that he would come.
I'm sure Battler was the same way. He did not yet have the determination and resolve to come for you.
God is not heartless. When your feelings truly do draw close, I'm sure that they'll bring the two of you together.
Just like Orihime and Hikoboshi.
Yes, it's as though the weather just happened to be bad during this year's Tanabata, keeping those lovers apart for another year. Oh, was that what the Tamanabata festival is about? Do you know? I don't actually know.
I've only seen it, like, the whole, like, story explained in animes. That's all.
Okay.
And I can't remember.
I'm gonna read that again, actually. Let me brain process. Yes, it's as though the weather just happened to be bad during this year's Tanabata, keeping those lovers apart for another year. That's how I'd like to think about what happened today.
Oh, we got big rain.
That's how I'd like to think about it. I have no other choice. Battler-san.
But Battler-kun didn't come back for...
6 years. Still a long way to go until then.
So you had to wait 6 whole years feeling like that? And one waits every year for something to happen the next, and then the same thing the next year and the next. It becomes the same as waiting for an eternity.
Pretty pathetic, don't you think? After all, this promise you thought you made with Battler seems to be something he knew nothing about, right?
Battler-kun does tend to use melodramatic phrases, just like Uncle Rudolph. His roundabout way of putting things might have led to a misunderstanding.
Some girl's gonna stab Battler in the back someday. Well, I guess that's more or less what this tale is.
That's so macabre!
When words can mean different things, they can turn a person's life upside down. There are times when careless talk costs lives.
That's true. That's true. Did I just miss a line?
No, you missed dots.
It flashed up and went so quickly. I was like, what?
Yeah, I skipped it because it was no words.
Oh, no, fair enough. Wait, is that actually the end?
Yep.
So we get through. So are we going to go through 1 year at a time then now?
No. So we're at chapter 7 now, I see?
Yeah. So the next one will be all the years, I'm assuming? Like, it'll be a year later, like, each time that Battler doesn't show up.
You'll probably get a few of those years in this. Maybe you'll have 1 or 2 here, and then 1 or 2 in the next one. I'm pretty sure this one will be... Not to spoil anything, but it'll be like... where her relationship with George starts to develop, I guess.
George starts to,
Make his move.
weasel his way in there, like, a little bit at a time.
I
Being
can't
like,
remember...
oh, Battler's so independent. Battler's, like, doing all this stuff. But guess who is here, Shannon? George!
I think I remember reading it, and it does give off that vibe, like, he's like, yeah, let's not talk about Battler, let's talk about me, kind of thing.
It's like, cue the roses and, like, castanets.
I'm pretty sure it felt like he really was just like, now's my chance, I need to make a move, and he just comes on really strongly over this.
I mean, I guess all power to him, like, he went for what he wanted. He knew what he wanted and he went for it, so... It really is Battler's law.
It's not like you can blame him, like, yeah.
Yeah.
It's the girl he likes, his competition is gone.
Yeah.
Like, for the foreseeable future. And it's just like, I mean, fair enough.
It's like, it's understandable, but it also is kind of, like, crummy at the same time.
Yeah.
It's just like,
I don't know. If you think about it, like, logically, it's actually very normal.
No, it is. It is. It's just like, I guess because we have the perspective, we've got all of the perspectives of the different people, whereas in real life, you don't hear the internal monologue of someone else's brain.
Yeah.
So I think it feels like extra crummy because you know that Shannon is really invested in Battler and that she really, really likes him. And
Yeah.
it kind of, like, I don't know, I feel like taking advantage of her while she's in that vulnerable state makes it seem like I don't know, it makes it more about that Battler's not there because he doesn't care about her and because he doesn't like her, when that's not necessarily the case.
It's
Or is it?
part of the story is that he forgot the whole thing, right?
But he didn't forget that Shannon existed.
He doesn't forget Shannon exists. I feel like he did.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, like, purely because of what he was going through. Like, he didn't have room for anything else in his brain.
Well, I mean, like, his mum died. And even though
Yeah.
it's not his real mum, he doesn't know that. So he thinks his real mum has died, and I don't know. That's really rough.
Yeah, so, like, I would say the last thing on his mind would be, like, this servant girl from years ago that I used to talk to.
That's true, though, because there's such a class difference between them two. It's a shame that they did, like, have such distinctions, because, I don't know, I am imagining, like, when I was a kid, and you've got so much more time, it feels like, when you're a child, and so they could have done things like write letters, or, I don't know, be pen pals.
Well, I just remembered something.
What? Does he end up getting, like, a girlfriend and then she finds out? Like, I did wonder if potentially they were going to go with the mindset of, like, you've also got to show your determination. So part of that could be, like, leaving the island and going to, like, find Battler.
That's
And
just
talk to him.
stalking. We don't condone that here.
Ah!
So this is...
Not stalking, because she's not, like, following him secretly. She's just going to find him and talk to him.
That's stalking.
That is stalking?
Yeah, that is
Oh, dear.
stalking.
Really?
Don't tell me you've done this.
No!
If you've gone looking, that's stalking.
Have you never tried to get in contact with an old friend?
No, not really.
Oh.
The only way I'd do that is just, like, send them a message. I wouldn't be like...
Now to go to where I remember they used to live and see if they're still there.
No, nothing like that. Although I was thinking maybe she could just go to his school, so maybe... I don't know.
I don't know. You should probably stop yourself there. No, this is Beatrice's tale, so we're not... I'll say... I guess it's fine to say, we're not going to go into, like, Battler's side of life, so to speak.
Battler's had his time in the sun.
Yeah, he's had 4 to 6 episodes. So this is...
So long, Battler. I kind of miss being able to say Battler in Beatrice's voice. That always sort of helped me get into the Beatrice role. So when I have to think of a voice, I'm always thinking, now how do I say it? Battler. Ah, yes, Battler. Tell me what you're going to do next on the chessboard. I don't know.
Should have done the Erica one.
Boatura.
Oh, well, we didn't know Erica at the time of them, like, Battler and Thingy facing off.
Erica is the stalker.
I wouldn't necessarily say Erica's a stalker. She's a little bit more unhinged, I think.
She had her ear up against the wall for the entire night listening to them sleep.
That's true, I forgot. Oh my goodness. I forgot
Just like,
Oh.
I can hear you breathing, Battler.
Did Erica ever show up in the anime?
No.
They didn't get that far.
They did the question arcs, which is the first 4, and she comes in the 5th episode.
Yeah, okay.
One day.
It would be nice to see, like, the whole thing animated. That would be
It's
quite
very... As much as I want to see it, I understand it's very difficult to do. Just the
nice.
nature of
It's
the story.
so long?
No, just the nature of the story.
The repetitiveness of it?
No.
I don't understand.
Yeah, we'll go into it later.
Okay.
Like, repetitiveness, you've got, like, Higurashi, which does the same thing.
True. And
Just
what does
like-
that show ReZero? Does that repeat?
Yeah, ReZero does that.
Yeah.
You got Steins Gate. People love, like, time loops. Although, is this time loop? You tell me.
Maria! Just met a scientist called Maria. With that note, I feel like we should have Maria, Steins Gate Maria, slowly fading into existence from a black screen.
I am mad scientist. Ushinomiya Maria.
Doo-da-doo! Instead of ooh, ooh, she's be like ooh-da-doo!
So she's the one who...
No!
Spoilers!
Oh my
If
goodness.
anyone... Yep. Anyway. We'll end it there.
Alright, till next time.